Hey guys, it's Callum. With Avengers Infinity War just round the corner, I'm excited to see one of the more popular characters in that movie, Spider-Man. And that gets me very excited for the other incarnation of Spider-Man coming in 2018, the Spider-Man game on PlayStation 4 from Insomniac Games. Now the question that's been on my mind for the last 2 years almost is, did Marvel Studios make Spider-Man on PlayStation 4 possible? Cast your mind back to 2014. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 released with a mixed to negative response from fans and critics alike, putting the future of Sony's cinematic Spider-Verse into question. Alongside it was The Amazing Spider-Man 2, a movie tie-in game for PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Wii U, with alternate versions available for Nintendo 3DS, Android, and iOS mobiles. The game has very little in common with the movie, besides its name and poor critical and commercial reception. At this time, the future of the wall crawler in multimedia was in flux. Activision lost the rights to all Marvel properties in video games, and fans desperately wanted for Sony to sell the Spider-Man movie rights back to Marvel. As it happened, that wish was soon granted. In early 2015, Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures announced an unprecedented deal that would allow the two studios to share characters for use in their movies, with no money passing hands in the deal. This meant Marvel Studios could use Spider-Man in future movies set within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Sony could use Marvel characters such as Iron Man in their Spider-Man movies, all set within the same world. Then just 1 year later, at E3 2016, the first post-Activision Spider-Man game is announced, and it's a PlayStation 4 exclusive published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Since then, the question's really been on my mind. How did Sony acquire the Spider-Man publishing rights? How many games or how many years does it last for? And why would Marvel license such a lucrative IP to a publisher that's only going to launch games on one of the 4 major AAA platforms? The answer, I believe, is somewhat tied to Sony's Spider-Man movie deal with Marvel Studios. We know from various sources, including direct emails leaked via WikiLeaks during the big Sony Pictures leak, Marvel have made many offers to buy back the Spider-Man movie rights. Marvel was willing to offer a lot, but Sony wouldn't bite, knowing Spider-Man is one of its few genuinely popular franchises in movies. When Marvel approached Sony with the sharing deal, I think it's entirely possible that Marvel or Disney offered up the Spider-Man game publishing rights to sweeten the deal. While Sony Pictures and Sony Interactive Entertainment are 2 separate divisions, they have, until recently, always had 2 very common threads. Sony itself, as a struggling company to some extent, and Kaz Hirai, CEO of Sony until 2018. Hirai was heavily involved in Sony Pictures' Spider-Man sharing deal and has always been heavily involved in PlayStation. And, of course, he had to make sure that Sony was a profitable company. Spider-Man is a very big first-party release for Sony and will almost certainly make them a lot of money. An amount of money that could have convinced Sony to share the Spider-Man character in the movies. This would explain not only why Sony was willing to work with Marvel after saying no for so many years, and also why Marvel would give their most famous license to a first party that will limit its profitability by launching on just one platform. While this is just speculation, if this is the case, how long would this deal last? Is it for a specific amount of games or years? We don't know. But what we do know is that it seems to be more than one game. Jay Ong, head of Marvel Games, told GamesIndustry.biz, "We've had a long history of success with Activision, and we still have a great relationship with them. But the future of Spider-Man console games is with Sony and Insomniac. We're delighted about this partnership, and that's something that's going to continue forward." Sounds like we'll be seeing sequels to Sony's Spider-Man on PS4, and the fact that the rights seem to lie exclusively with Sony for now, to me, lends credit to the idea that this game was made possible thanks to Marvel Studios' sharing deal with Sony Pictures. Do you agree? Disagree? Have any solid information that may prove or disprove my theory? Comment below and tell me your thoughts. I love discussing this kind of behind-the-scenes stuff and would love to hear what you all think. Thanks again, and see you next time.